Now, let's hear from our next speaker, Ms. Neena Chatrath, an expert in innovative leadership development and executive behavior. She has designed groundbreaking initiatives that have transformed leaders across industries. So buckle up for this masterclass in leadership. Let's show her introduction on the screen. Neena Chatrath. With over 25 years of business and consulting experience, Neena Chatrath is a distinguished leader in the field of organizational development and talent management. She serves as an independent director on the boards of Oriental Hotels Limited, Dwarikesh Sugar Industries, Vision Springs Foundation, and is active in the HR committee of the Confederation of Indian Industries, contributing to India's Apex Industry Forum. Ms. Neena delivers thought-provoking ideas on leadership at various organizational and academic forums, including NHRD, CII, IMA, and SIBM. She also writes for leading business publications such as the Economic Times, Hindustan Times, and Business Today, providing insights on the business landscape and leadership implications. She specializes in working with family-led businesses on institutional building, including succession planning, and creating a robust leadership pipeline. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Ms. Neena Chatrath.
Good morning to all of you. How's the day been? So far, so good? Yeah, are you enjoying yourself? Listening to all our boring stories? Okay, I know we use words like decades very easily. मतलब एक क्या 10 साल गुजर गए, फिर एक और 10 साल गुजर गए, पता नहीं कहाँ जिंदगी चली गई, पता ही नहीं चला. In a flash it gets over, you know. So thank you, IMA, and heartiest congratulations for the 17th win. My association with All India Management Association, dates back many, many years. But more importantly, I've had a lot of mentors who have kind of looked at me and said, I think she has something in her. Let's sort of, work together with her. And so IMA selected me to be part of a steering committee, and I think this may interest you all. We started a program called Pragati. And Pragati as in a Hindi word, I'm sure you understand the meaning of Pragati, which is to celebrate the achievements of women. And I remember we started this about 10, 11 years ago, and every year we would sit down in a part of a steering committee and sit and say, what should be the theme, And what's very interesting is that a lot of people came with very negative themes. Meri saas mere ko kaam nahi karne deti hai. I get caught up with my children's studies. I was so bright once. I could never enter the world of work. And a lot of us have gone through it, In small measures, in big measures, we've all got obstacles. And as a steering committee member, Veena Swaroop, who's a very well-known person, she was an ED for Engineers India Limited, and she kept pushing our thinking to saying, no, turn this into an advantage, turn this into an advantage. And lo and behold, I didn't realize how much I was internalizing this whole thinking. Which is to say, every time something came to me, I would have Veena ji's face in front of me. I said, why am I thinking of her? And her one line was, turn it into an advantage. And somehow that became my orientation in my head. I mean, it happened, of course, just 10, 11 years ago. My professional life dates back to exactly 41 years. I have actually, it's very interesting, but Jyoti Narang and I together worked at the Taj Hotels. Taj Palace had just opened. We were colleagues there. She was in sales and marketing, I was in banquets. And why I was in banquets? Because I'd done my hotel management, landed up in this Taj Palace. We were standing in a line, and we were, I think, 12, 14 of us, and the general manager looks at me and says, यार इसको ना एक कुर्सी वाला job दे दो, ये मर जाएगी, because I was very thin. So there started my professional journey, if one wants to hear it. It's pretty interesting. So I couldn't understand what he was trying to say, because, my strength is here. My strength doesn't have to be in my body. I was bone thin. So I remember all those years ago when I was being told that I need a desk job, my mind was fighting. I didn't have the guts to say anything because this was a general manager where, those days we talked about hierarchy, Sangeeta. Those days you could not answer back. Everybody was a sir and a ma'am, and you're just starting out your journey. You're so young and there's so much ahead of you. So you don't want to rock the boat, if I may call it that. So I remember going to my, a more amiable manager who was my immediate manager and saying, what does he mean? I don't have the strength. He said, no, he just means that he's giving you a heads up. I said, what does a heads up mean? It means you'll start with an office job instead of starting, in a tougher job in a hotel. We were all, assistant, trainee, captains, God knows what. And they told us we're assistant managers, but it didn't mean a thing. It meant you're in a hotel and you're working, you're going to put your sleeves up. So lesson one that I learned in that organization at the Taj was, while excellence is staring at you in the face, actually you're a worker. And nothing else will move the needle for you unless you work. So very soon, within a few months, I don't know whether Jyoti may not remember this, but very soon I thought, I'm a little cut above my batchmates because they're all slogging, but I'm sitting in the banquet office with this huge diary in front of me, and I thought I've arrived. So I started getting a little bit arrogant. And then I got this terrible feedback from everyone saying, yaar, line mein aaja. You're here to work. You're at the beginning of your career. Nothing's going to go anywhere till you know what you do. Oh God, that was such a slap in my face. But that feedback went a long way. Why did it go a long way? Because very earlier on in my career, I knew, people are going to tell you, good, bad, ugly. How do we take it? And I started applying that whole thing in my life, because your parents are your biggest confidence builders. In their eyes, ye beti to kuch galat nahi kar sakti. She's the best. And my parents forever kept saying, oh, you're the brightest. And I was very bright, very smart, everything one did in school. So you just keep getting positive reaffirmations. And then you step into the world, which is not a very kind world. And you have to learn how to deal with it. So I think lesson one, how we all dealt with it. And what do we build in ourselves a consequence of that, dealing with it, right? And how do we remain positive through it all? And there's something that I kind of noted for myself. You are going to get very tough spots. And I had many tough spots in my life. If I start counting them and start relating them, I swear there'll be a book that you can make and I'll be here till the evening. Very, very difficult spots. You can't even imagine how difficult. And I got myself into it. It's not that I hesitated, that I don't want any concession being a woman. I took it to another level. I took it absolutely to another level. When I was in a global firm many years later, with a lot of professional accolades behind me, I remember becoming this, like I'm the mashal bearer and this is my job. And, at times it just gets the better of you. And I remember doing... I was to go to a certification to California. I had a client waiting, Millicom in Sri Lanka, and I had an assessment in Moscow. Now the Moscow partner did not know I have got Sri Lanka and California on my table. The California certification person did not know I have these two lined up, and so on and so forth. So here I am sitting with my EA and saying, how do we plan my trip? And she said, ma'am, you can't do them all. I said, no, I want to do all three. I'm not going to miss out on anything. I will do that Novartis assessment in Moscow. I will be in Sri Lanka. I will do Millicom. And I want to be in my certification in California. I don't know, you figure it out. So she went crazy and we sat. Many years later, of course. I didn't miss a thing, but the cost was to myself. And that is what I want to leave you with. Whatever you're doing in your homes, at work, wherever you're doing it for yourself. We very happily externalize it. I can very happily would have said and stood there and said, I'm a partner in Corn Ferry. I'm doing it for Corn Ferry. Ghanta, you're doing it for yourself. कोई Corn Ferry में bother नहीं करेगा आप क्या कर रहे हो. So when you stretch yourself And you stretch yourself for your children, you stretch yourself for your mother-in-law, you stretch yourself for your parents, you stretch yourself for everybody in your life, including your husband if you have the bandwidth and time. And I kind of colluded with him on day one, say, you know, what kind of wife do you want? I can sit at home, very happily enjoy the jewelry that you buy for me and push you to make that money to keep buying the jewelry, or do you want me to partner? And it's not going to be 49-51, it'll be 50-50. And trust me, I'm still fighting. He's such a wonderful person, I can't tell you. But still on a daily basis, there's this little bit of male ego that I see coming up. And all I do is I take a fly swatter. I've got this, in my head, I've got a fly swatter. Thar. And I do it so happily, I can't tell you. I do it so happily. But I can put all my accomplishments on one side and I can put his little male ego on the other side. Many years ago, centuries ago, he used to make me a cup of tea. Today, I even ask him, say, Rajiv, just put the kettle on, the maid is not come, or yaar, kuch gas pe pani bhi rakh do. I am exercising. Well, I'm the one, I've got 30 things lined up during the day. I say, hang on, your exercise can wait. So I actually am very firm with him. At times, he gets a little upset, which is fine. But the partnership approach. I think the first thing that I told you is be positive. You're going to get into tough spots. And don't think about the problem, just come into the solution mode. So every time that I got into a tough situation, I'm going to just finish my first thought. I went to my father, mother, mentor, ex-boss, current boss, everyone, and I kept saying, I'm in this spot, kya karu, kya karu, kya karu. And I got a whole lot of thoughts from everybody, triangulated it, and I said, I think I have an answer. And so every time that you're in a tough spot, think of a solution. The second thing is just get people to partner with you. I think that's been my biggest learning. I'm sorry, I'm going to make a very tough statement here, but I'm going to do this. A controversial statement. I never liked my mother-in-law. But I loved her to death because she helped me so much in my life. I cannot walk away from all that she did for me. So, I partnered with her in a beautiful way. So, I don't know how many of you partner with your spouse. And you know what? My topic is leadership across all aspects of life. If you want to be professionally qualified or you want to do an entrepreneurship and you want to be successful, make sure there are enough and more people who are supporting you. I remember my 5 years in a global firm as a senior partner. I remember that time, I swear to God, I was on a treadmill where the speed had gone, I don't know where it had gone. I had no idea. I told you about this Russia, Sri Lanka, California. This was my life for 5 years. I stretched myself, but there was no crying. I was doing it very happily for myself because I really wanted to succeed. There's this very ambitious Nina sitting somewhere whom I kept discovering, and she kept getting bigger and bigger. So I said, you know what, be ambitious. If you're ambitious, be ambitious. And keep on learning and keep on fueling that ambition. And I'm saying this here, not all of us need to be ambitious. You have to be ambitious in something. Take those small steps somewhere. Make your goals. Even today, I get up in the morning, I have my small goals. Small, bite-size, BYTE for all the youngsters. Bite-size, someone told me bite-size. I said, khate kaise hai goal ko? But theek hai. Bite-size in this day of thing. Make those goals for yourself. Small goals, mediocre goals, big goals. End of the year, 1 week. The whole year, I'm this best wife, best everything, best consultant. That 1 week, I go into a sort of a space of my own. And I actually evaluate my entire year. And I look through my year and I say, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? Did I take care of my plants? Did I neglect my house in some way? Did I take care of all my relationships? Everything matters. You're not a one-trick pony. You're not just you're an individual, and whatever, and the life is too short. In a blink of a second, time just goes away. They say days are very long, but decades go away, years go away. I can't believe that, 83 I started working. I can't believe it's been 41 years. I can go back and remember each and every time. It just slips you by. But if you want to do something, now is the time. And another thing, in the similar thought process, there are two more things I wanted to share with you. One is about this, this 1 week that I give to myself. It's reality check. It's where am I wrong? And how can I be a better human being? Is there something I'm missing out on? And trust me, every year I get very interesting answers. So I've been doing a lot of pro bono work with associations, CII, and I feel I've done my bit till I got a board position in a global philanthropic company saying, can you come on this board? But you know what? We're not going to pay you anything. So I said, okay, I'm a very capitalistic person. At the end of the day, my time is money and time is running out. So I said, okay, tell me more. So I was trying to fob them off. I wasn't very keen. And he started saying, it's philanthropy at its best. And I said, tell me more. So I'm myopic. I wear lenses. And he says, there was a gentleman, Jordan Casselow. He came to India about, I think, 25 years ago. He's an optometrist, not even an ophthalmologist. And he came to Aravind Eye Hospital. You must be familiar with the Aravind Eye Hospital, which is very, very famous. And he did his internship there. And he realized that India and some other countries in the African continent and everywhere else have an unmet need that we don't consider myopia as a bimari. It's not considered as a disease. Either myopia or hypermetropia, presbyopia they call it now, plus or minus, we wear glasses, right? So what he did was, he started putting money aside many years ago and saying, I'm going to put up a trust and I'm going to hold eye camps. And eye camps for people where they put in 3 programs. One is See to Learn, which is for children. See to Earn is for people who work their entire life. So maybe tea pickers, if you pick tea in a tea garden, so you put tea. So if you can't see well, they get paid according to the weight of the tea that they have picked up, the leaves. So if you've picked up 40 kgs when you were young, it sort of gets depleted. And therefore your income gets depleted. So See to Earn is a program where all the workers, weavers, everybody who works with their hands can go and get, it's very simple. You just get your eyes tested, you get a plus, and we give free glasses to them. So, wow, wonderful. How do you want me to get involved? We said, no, you're a good communicator, you're a well-established woman, you have a standing, you talk about us and you be part of us in the board. And it required maybe 10, 12, 14 days of my life in a calendar year. And I kept thinking about it. And I said, give me some time. I'll have to think because I'll have to juggle my schedule and say, do I have that kind of bandwidth or time or not? And then something inside me said that, I think you've lost the way, Nina. If you can't give your time to something which is so good, then what's the point? So all aspects of life, is all aspects of life. And then I sat down and I called this gentleman. He was calling me from the US. I said, I'm really sorry I've taken time to come back to you, but I definitely want to be part of it. Not only that, give me some real responsibility. At times being on the board is very nice. They feed you, they keep you happy and all, and then you go for those meetings and you know the financials and the meeting gets done. But I said, I want to be on the board, but I want to be a meaningful member on the board. If I'm giving you time, give me some roles and responsibilities where I will, for myself, tick mark and say, I did this. Feel good about myself. Not just be there in a meeting, talk, yes, this is lovely, let's do some research. No, I don't want that. वो भी करेंगे, मगर we'll also go beyond that. So back to my 1 week, I think that 1 week makes me a better person, makes me a better professional, makes me a better human being, if I can say that. I would urge all of you to do that. I would also urge all of you to say, what are your strengths? How aware are you about yourself? Because my entire work in leadership consulting, I'm a leadership consultant and a business coach, and part of me is I'm an independent director on the boards. But the whole authentic leadership piece, how self-aware I am, is the piece that I initially took on while I went into consulting. And I said that behavioral space, there's so much more to be done. Sangeeta picked a point on Daniel Goleman and empathy and emotional intelligence, right? Daniel Goleman is my guru. What does he say? He says something very beautiful. And I'll try and, sort of help you understand that, because all of us can take away from that. It's about self-awareness. मैं कितने पानी में हूँ? मेरी क्या खामियां हैं, कितनी खूबियां हैं. What strengths do I have? What weaknesses do I have? Awareness of the self is a very huge thing, right? And then when you have awareness of yourself and you go through that journey, then awareness of others also builds up. You start getting more interested in people. You don't just listen in, but you actually listen in. So listening is a very, very big thing. And so self-awareness on that piece. The third is about management of self. When you're aware of yourself, you have to manage yourself, right? So emotional outbursts, getting angry with your teams, freaking out, knocker ko daant diya, driver ko daant diya. No, it's management of yourself. We all have emotional outbursts. How do you contain it? How do you control it? How do you capture it? And how do you get angry, right? I agree with Sangeeta. You get angry, but how do you channelize that energy? How do you channelize? So management of self and then management of others. It's an extremely important journey you can embark for yourself. There's enough and more on Google. Google Baba is there to give you all the information possible. So just a few more thoughts on self-awareness. Am I making sense? Sure. Last time I remember in a convention I said, am I making sense? तो ऐसे तो मैं फिर क्या बोलूं? Anyway, there are a few more things, but I'm here for a little more while. And I would love to sort of share this with you, but I think I've covered most of the things that I wanted to cover. And it's, thank you once again, IMA, to have me here. I think it's a reaffirmation of the tough journey that one has been through, and it's a reaffirmation of coming out strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Neena, for an action-oriented talk. That challenges will come, but facing them, taking feedbacks, having superb confidence and a sense of humor, and balancing relationships, and to start focusing on solutions. These are relevant not in just our professional lives, but in our personal lives as well. Thank you so much. Curiosity, especially intellectual inquisitiveness, is what separates the truly alive from those who are merely going through the motions. And after hearing these compelling stories, our minds are buzzing with questions. Ms. Chani will now guide us through an engaging conversation with our expert speakers.
Thank you, Prachi. So it's said that, well-behaved women seldom make history. So I think, so we have two very, very strong, very, very successful women with us who've not only told us how it is done, but also probably made us realize that, they are amongst us and they've made it here, so we can also make it here. So I made a list of questions, but since we're short of time, I just wanted to know, I'm going to ask one question to both of you. I wanted to know your opinions on that. So do you think that, you said that you had to travel, you never said no, and you were always in there. You managed so many things. You said that you traveled here and there. Do you think sometimes for women to prove, they overdo it? And also, Neena, you kept on mentioning about mother-in-law. I'd like to say my mother-in-law is sitting right in front. And she's my biggest cheerleader. So to the extent I'm wearing her diamonds today. So yes. So, but do you think that, we as women, push ourselves a little too much, or we are a little bit more harsh on ourselves, that sometimes maybe it's time to take a break, but we do not prioritize, and just to make a point, we are out there and working?
So no, absolutely. I think, I think there's, you can push yourself. I got transferred to Switzerland. I was there. All the fingers were pointing at me. Gaadi chalao, khana kharido, kaato, pito, banao, khao, safai karo, daftar mein kaam karo, everything I did. But we do, I think, push ourselves a lot. And, we push ourselves on many, many fronts. And I think the important thing is that at the end of the day, you have to be happy with where you are and what you're doing. whatever you're doing, whether it's looking after your mother-in-law, your mother, running the home, cooking. I mean, you know, I believe that if we do things with focus and passion, and I don't believe in multitasking, I have my own definition of what is today called multitasking. If we work with focus and passion and we connect with our inner self, then nothing is too much. You know when to stop. But yeah, I have also, in my growing up years, really pushed myself. And I really still push myself quite a lot to do the things that, you know, you just set yourself, I'll just share with you. I just did a surprise birthday party for my daughter. And I was traveling. I went to Ludhiana for a similar talk to the Ludhiana Management Association. And I was really pushed in terms of time and effort, but I did it because I really wanted to do it. And I don't want any accolades for it. So I think that's important. You do it, and you refer to it also, you know, you do it for yourself. You do it because it makes you happy. I think if you do it from that perspective, then pushing yourself is also fine. Yeah. Don't kill yourself in the process.
I think it's working. Yeah. No, there is no, you don't have a choice. It's as simple as that. You just don't have a choice, and so you may as well do it happily. But yes, in the context of work, I have really pushed myself. And the reason I pushed myself is because I just wanted to be extra successful. I don't know whatever that means. So, you know, at any point of time you thought, and I'll tell you a very beautiful interplay of work and home. So every time in home, there are so many things to be done. Children are growing up. You know, there's like thousands of things happening. There are birthday parties, there's PTAs, there's a whole lot of stuff happening, right? So you sort of address all that and then you run away home to work. And at work, there are like thousands of challenges. I mean, it's not easy. It's very, very tough out there. There are times when you're just trying to make a point with your male colleagues, and at times you get taken lightly, and it used to irk me so much. But then I said, no, let's play the game. And so when you play the game in a corporate, you really push yourself. You really, all your radars come out, all your thinking comes out, and I became very strategic in my approach. And I'm also extremely structured. I keep increasing my bandwidth so that I'm able to do thousands of things, and I'm very happy to do it. So when you go to office, then again there are lots of things out there, and then you sort of leave them at a certain point and you come back home, and then you start facing these. So it's like a 24-hour cycle, and that's why I'm saying co-opt. I remember this is a very funny one. I remember at one time, I had this driver who knew when I had to sleep. So I would do my meetings just after lunch, and he would be driving, and he says, yes, ma'am. The moment he said, yes, ma'am, means I can put my head back and I can sleep. So मेरे पास 5 minutes होते थे. I used to quickly have my lunch and I just put my head back. And there were times when I told Rajiv, I said, Rajiv, today Balwant is more important to me than you are.
I think we'll leave the discussion on that note. So, thank you so much. It was such a privilege listening to both of you. I wish we had more time, but it was incredible. Please give a huge round of applause for both of them.
It's felicitation time. We have got some homegrown wonders from the sporting world among us today, and IMA wants to recognize their achievement. I now invite Ms. Ragini Bafna, an IMA Women Committee member, to escort Ms. Advika on stage and request President Mr. Naveen Khandelwal to present a memento. Can we have Advika's video? Advika is a table tennis prodigy. She's ranked #1 in Madhya Pradesh. Advika has been appointed as a Khelo India athlete by the Sports Authority of India, making her the only player from Madhya Pradesh to receive this distinction in her age. Advika has competed in Bangkok, Egypt, France, Belgium, Jordan, Kazakhstan, winning silver and bronze medals. Now, I request Ms. Archana Aaron to escort Ms. Gunvi on the stage. Gunvi picked up basketball at the tender age of 9 years. With rigorous training, she has worked hard to rank #1 player in all of Madhya Pradesh. She has represented the state as captain and has been awarded Best Defender of the Series, highest scorer of the match, and made it to top 4 players who represented India in 3x3 FIBA World Cup Championship. There is no looking back for Gunvi now. Let's have a video. Advika and Gunvi, we are proud of you. Indore is proud of you. Good luck for your future. What a start. A big thank you to our speakers, Ms. Sangeeta Talwar and Ms. Neena Chatrath, for electrifying this room with your insights and stories. Here's to strong women. May we know them, may we be them, and may we raise them. Thank you so much.